Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Zero Hours with me, Mikey Brown. Getting a little antsy. Haven't done this for a while. I got some things to talk about today. Get them out there, get them off my chest, my opinions. Basically, we got four people I want to talk about today, four scenarios. Of course, you can't get away without talking about Devontae Wright, Adam Toledo. Then there's a couple other ones, Darian Jarrett and Ashley Babbitt. So we're going to get into it today, all of it. And my hostility is going to probably get out of hand today. Anyway, we go with Devontae Wright first. Okay, this was the shooting in Minnesota. I guess it's a suburb of Minneapolis. I don't really know. Brooklyn something. Anyway, I mean, when this came out, the police body cam footage came out like instantaneously, which is usually rare. Usually that comes out later, but this one came out like almost right at the same time of the shooting. So I don't know if that was intentional or if it was just to get it out there that, hey, this is what happened right away instead of having it reviewed and all this stuff. In my mind, there's no reason to review it. And when I heard she got charged, this female officer got charged with murder or involuntary or voluntary manslaughter, whatever it was. I was like, are we fucking joking here? I mean, and the riots start, of course, because it's another poor, defenseless, young, exceptional young man of color, black, all the spun bullshit that we keep getting fed every single time. I mean, just pay no mind, this guy had warrants. I mean, first to start off why he got pulled over. The rumor on the internet at the time was something about an air freshener. Kind of thought that was bullshit. Ended up, it was bullshit. He had expired plates. Okay. And let's go through the gamut because I know how people are and they'll talk this. Is expired plates a reason to die? No. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Absolutely not. It's a fuck up most people make at least once in their life. They forget to renew their tags or whatever. Pull over for expired plates. Okay. They walk up to the car and they're talking to this guy and everything seems normal for the time being. Well, they run his information, as all police officers do when they have you pulled over, and see that he has a warrant for his arrest on past gun charges and eluding the police charges. Makes you a little more heightened if you're a police officer, I would think. Then we'll go down the same line we did the last time. Is having a warrant for those things justifiable for death or to get shot? No. So we're good. We're 2 for 2. So we'll go to the third part of the story, and they're getting him out of the car because he has said warrants. And they are placing him under arrest. The one policeman had his hand behind his back, putting the cuffs on. Now, only thing I can't testify to that in this video is what he was saying to the police, because I really didn't hear the conversation so much. I just I heard a little bit of words here and there, like quit resisting and this is what we're getting into next. So at some points he decides that he did not want to go back to jail and that this would be the opportune time for him to resist arrest. Now, why he would think that, I don't know. I mean, Not wanting to go to jail, I get it, I guess. But you have three or four police officers. And the one that's trying to cuff him, and you got the lady officer that ended up doing the shooting. And after he starts to fight with the police, and he's trying to get back into his car for, once we go back again to the warrant, he probably has a gun because he was on a warrant for having a gun that wasn't registered, right? He was also under a warrant for fleeing the police. So there he is trying again. So I don't think at this point the police thought their lives were in danger, but they definitely wanted to contain the situation. And so he's fighting with the police. You hear the lady officer, Officer Wilson, I believe was her name, or Cooper maybe, say, I'm going to tase you. I'm going to tase you. And she's probably in panic. If I was a police officer, I'd be in panic. This kid, he was 20-some, whatever, 20. He's not very stealth looking. But he's fighting with the police. He's known to have guns in his possession at some point where he was on a warrant for it. And fleeing the police. So he starts to get back in his vehicle. He fights away from the police officer. He's in his own vehicle. He's going to take off. So this officer deploys what she assumed was her taser, or, let's get brass tacks on this. She fucked up. I'm not denying that. I'm not saying, but I think she fucked up big time. But without malice or ill intent is what I'm saying. I'm thinking she got her strong side fucked up. You should be able to tell if you're a well-trained officer the difference between a taser and a Glock 17. But here we go with this. It's a sidebar here. Minneapolis and the surrounding areas in Minnesota and all this are the same ones that cried and screamed and begged and pleaded to defund the police because they don't really need to be there. Well, maybe if this department wasn't defunded, maybe she could have had some extra training. Maybe she should spend more time at the gun range and know the difference between a fucking taser and a Glock 17. So yeah, she's not going to win any awards for Officer of the Year, and she's fucked up. She fucked up. I'm not even going to hide and say, hey, but do I think she's screaming to kill this kid out of, malice that it's just another thug, I'm going to shoot you? No, you heard her say, I'm going to have to tase you. I'm going to have to tase. And she didn't. She repeated herself numerous times. It's like, to me, that means you really don't want to. Because if it was me and I was a police officer in that position, and before the shit starts, black, white, red, blue, purple, I don't care who you are, you're jumping back in your vehicle resisting arrest. My fellow officer is trying to get you. I have a weapon in my possession. Lo and behold, I hope to God I know the difference between a taser and a Glock 17. But the taser would have been out already. As soon as you started fighting and tried to get and got back in the car, taser deployed. And if the taser don't work and you're reaching for something else, it would have been Glock 17 time. But, you're a racist, whatever. No, like I just said, no. Color doesn't make no difference to me. I'm a police officer in today's age. I'm my hand's on the trigger when I walk up to the damn door. But if you're fighting my fellow officer, have gun charges on you and fleeing the police, and people say, so what? You let him go and you catch him another time. This is one I heard on social media. You let this guy go, you catch him at a different time with a warrant. Just like you had this warrant, you'll find him again. So would you feel the same if, he had a gun in there, if he did, and they just let him drive away, and he decides, oh, this is just too easy, and I see, I need some money. I'm gonna go to the store. I'm gonna rob it. And your son or daughter is working in a convenience store, and he goes in there with a gun and blows their fucking head off because we just let him go because, yeah, it's just a warrant for having an illegal firearm and fleeing the police. Would you feel the same then? Or would you feel the same? And most of you would be like, well, that's what they get. They get them. That's what their job is. They took that risk. Well, they took the risk, right? And they have the right to defend themselves. What if this jackass would have got in that car without getting shot and went down the road a little bit and spun that car around and came right back and mowed down 3 or 4 police officers with his gun, with his car? Just because they let him go. He spins that fucker around, comes back and kills him. Do we know he would have done that? No, I don't. Hypothetically, I think probably not even close to that. But you get nut jobs that will fucking take out a cop. And we'll get into that later. But so far, I've heard nothing but I'm not even going to call it an accidental shooting because she meant to shoot. It was just a piss poor mistake. Not saying she shouldn't get punished. I'm not even saying she shouldn't deserve some kind of, small, not small, but involuntary manslaughter or something like that. But she can work it out without having to go to prison for it. Because and here come the haters on that. But listen, she's still in the process of doing her job. This guy's in the process of committing a crime. Is resisting arrest enough to get you killed? Is that a death sentence offense? In today's age, fucking A. Fucking A. Because they don't know what in the hell you're doing. And in this scenario, I'll put it in. If me, or I use anybody I know, if I'm out drinking or whatever, this scenario I use because I've been pulled over for DUI. And I've ran my mouth to the cop. But have I ever resisted arrest? No. But if I'm all fucked up on fentanyl, or if I'm on, I got a warrant for illegal weapons charges on me, and I feel the need to resist arrest, and I'm fighting with the cops, and they tell me I am going to tase you, or we're going to shoot, and I persist on my way, and they shoot me and kill me or somebody I know, you know what? Justified. I'm not saying this particular with Officer Cooper here is justified. I'm saying that's fucking a fuck up. But at the end of the day, was the kid resisting arrest? Was it? Why didn't you just put your hands behind your back? And this is the growing theme. You put your hands behind your back for warrants you know you have, and man up and do your fucking time and take your consequences, or you can take the consequences of what happened in this case, which means you're fucking dead. And here we got a guy, he was, a young boy, he just had a baby. He's on Facebook waving his $100 bills, whatever the fuck he was doing, with his gun, pointing it at the, screen, doing this shit with that. Upstanding citizen. But even an asshole like that, does he deserve to die for something petty? Like, even fleeing the police. Does he deserve to die from that, having a warrant for that? No. But if you're resisting arrest and they tell you they're going to shoot in any capacity, a taser, a fucking pepper spray gun, whatever, you would think they're fucking meaning business. And you would keep resisting arrest and then try to drive away from the cops, and you're shot in the process? Well, fuck it. You get what you get. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Now you're fucking done. I don't know how people are arguing this, how they're going into the riots, another poor innocent black. No, he wasn't a fucking innocent black kid that got shot for nothing. He resisted fucking arrest and tried to drive away from the cops. And who knows what would have happened after he left? Would he have killed somebody you know? Would he have killed another, went down the line and just start fucking go mowing people down in his car? We don't know that. Yeah, and I know. There's two sides to every story, and the left's got their little snowflake way of thinking things. But I know people that are personally that are police officers, and I'd rather see them alive than some fucking thug. Sorry. I'm not sorry. I won't say he got what he deserved, but he got what consequences he made for himself. So that's the end of my discussion with Devontae Wright, the newest martyr for the state of Minneapolis. Then we'll move on to the gun-free zone. The gun-free zone of Chicago, Illinois, where they had a video just released, a body cam, for another young man, a 13-year-old guy this time. And I don't want to get his name wrong, but I know it's Adam or Aaron. I read it this morning. I don't write shit down. I should. I think it's Adam Toledo. The story of Adam Toledo is this. He's out with a friend of his, right? They're in Chicago, which is Chicago PD's got the worst fucking job in the world. You know, that there's shootings there every minute of every day. For a gun-free zone, you wouldn't think that, but that's the liberal logic that gets us fucking trouble. So anyway, this young man, he's with another guy, a young kid. I don't know how old that kid was, 17 maybe. And they're out running the streets, which I'm sure is typical in Chicago. I mean, it's a rough place. I mean, there's probably really good spots in Chicago, and then there's the rough spots, right? So what he's doing out with his buddy, I don't, whatever. They're just out fucking around. I did that as a kid, 13 years old. Shit, yeah. I ran the street here in, Podunk, Ohio. I didn't have much to worry about, but. So we get on to there's a call to the Chicago Police Department. Shots fired. Chicago. Shots fired. That is probably, it probably gets redundant for them, but it's from a policeman's point of view, fuck, here we go. We're on high alert from the get-go because there's actual shots fired. So they get to the place where those shots were fired, and they're chasing these kids because they start running from the police. Well, this young Toledo kid, he gets to a partition by the fence. I'm watching the body cam video. And he does swing around and hold his hand. It looked like he held his hands up, like somewhat, to me, just in the body cam. He spun around and threw his hands up like that. He's been running from the police. He gets shot by the Chicago Police Department. Everybody's in a damn, they want to riot Chicago. They want to burn the place down. Here's yet another innocent kid, unarmed kid shot by the police. Well, number one, they didn't know he was unarmed. This is not, I'm not saying that this isn't a tragedy, because definitely could have been avoided here. I think, but here I'm going to explain the flip side of what I would think if I was a police officer. You've had a report of shots fired. This kid's running down the alleyway. He whips it around, even if he's putting his hands in the air. I have 1 second as a policeman to know, is this kid spinning around or stopping or whatever? Is he going to fucking shoot me? If his hands moved quickly, which I'm not saying they did or didn't, I'm not a trained police officer. Again, to fund the police bullshit. Maybe they need more training. But you have that 1 second. Because if he does have a gun, and he shoots you before you could shoot him, you're dead. And people don't seem to care about that, because we've had 104 police officers killed in the line of duty already in 2021. But, these few and I'll call most of them, majority of them, thugs. They get killed by the police, or because they're doing stupid shit, resisting arrest, have weapons, whatever. Most of the time they're armed. And if they're not armed, they're resisting arrest. And they're trying, So I say, it's stupid. Why resist you resist arrest unless you're completely 100% innocent? And then you just talk your way out of it. You just talk your way. Why is this incessive need to run and resist and everything else? And here come the bleeding hearts with well, you don't know what it's like. You've never been a black man in this country. You wouldn't know. I've seen plenty of arrests made without incident because some people are just smart and some people are just fucking stupid. It shouldn't have anything to do with the color of your skin if you're bright or intelligent or not. That kid was the Dante Wright was already out of the car. All they were doing was putting the cuffs on him. They weren't being rough with him. They weren't throwing him around. They weren't threatening him. They didn't have a gun to the side of his head saying they're going to blow his fucking head off, like you see on TV and you see on these movies that glorify police brutality to make it look like these streets are so cold and hard. This kid was out of the car, not getting manhandled. Guy was trying to put cuffs on him. And he freaked the fuck out. This kid, Toledo, his mistake was running from the police. This one's harder for me. It is because you want to blame the cops in this one. You really do. Because this 13-year-old kid, he was unarmed. They said later, there was a gun behind the fence where he was at. I don't know. That could have been a panic move by the police department saying, oh, he had a gun. And he really didn't. And accidents happen. Here again, you're in a situation you probably shouldn't be in. You're running the streets with a guy that had a gun that shots were fired from. And when the cops show up, you are running hauling ass. Why not, when you see the cop car, stop instantly? Instantly. Put your hands as high in the air as you can and wait for them to tell you what to do. Now, my argument against myself on this one is 13 years old. But for a police officer's point of view, they can get shot by a 13-year-old. 13-year-olds have access to weapons. They have the means. They know how to shoot them. So Adam Toledo, I'm going to call the most unfortunate, the most that you can get, the most unfortunate circumstance. Because, now this young man's life's gone, and he might have been, 13 years old, you got a lot of life to live. And he could have just been caught up with an idiot friend, or he, whatever. And it's sad. The police officer that shot him has to live with the fact that he shot a 13-year-old that sounds more than likely was not armed. And he panicked in that moment. And Chicago Police Department, I give you kudos for even walking out on the streets, because that's got to be a mind-bending, mind-jarring job every day. I can't imagine. And then having that one or 2 seconds you see a kid, but you don't see a kid. You see somebody that was running from you after shots fire call. I'm not going to sit here and say that the cops in either one of these situations were perfectly right, and the other kids were just downright wrong. Dante Wright, a lot more guilty than Adam Toledo in my mind. So, it's unfortunate. We had both these shootings. I think Toledo's was a little while back, but they just released a body cam footage. And I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me here, that they're saying they're systematically hunting these kids down, and that's total bullshit. You put yourself in certain situations. If you don't put yourself in a certain situation, like resisting arrest or running from the cops, then there's probably nearly 0% chance you're going to get killed. like I've referred to a couple certain scenarios. Like I remember the hope I get his name right. I've researched it a couple times, and I always get his name wrong. But I think it's Felipe Castillo, and I'm believing it was Philadelphia. And he got shot by a nervous, over the top fucking cop. When the cop asked him to get his information, and he simply went for his information in his console, and the cop shot him. Now that's purely 100% police fuck up. The guy needs to pay the price for that. He's doing what you told him. He's not resisting. He's not running. He's complying with your orders, and you shoot him anyway. That's bullshit. The other two, these two, first one, definitely officers, she fucked up. She shot him with the wrong thing, but at the end of the day, I still think it's justified. Now the young boy in the second one, it's a toss-up. It's not really something you want to have happen, but at the same time, you're putting yourself in those situations to cause the possibility. Just take yourself out of the equation on it, and there you go. But that's just my opinion, and I know it's not going to be a real popular one with most of the left or liberals or even some of the right-wingers, but it's just I'm just telling you how I feel and trying to look at it from both sides. I really am, because like I've said, there's spots in both, right? So now I'm going to move to a story I watched on YouTube about an officer. This is an officer, Darian Jarrett, New Mexico. I believe it was a state trooper. It did a sheriff or a state trooper. It didn't really go into the detail from what I watched. I watched a video, and it was his dash cam footage of a traffic stop. And he walked up to the truck on the passenger side and asked them to roll the window down a little bit, and they said sure. They did that. They were complying. So he did, and he told them their tent was too dark. Something easily fixed. Not a big deal. Probably going to get a warning. Probably go on your way. Okay? Now, he was running this guy because they run like I said, they've run every stop. But he hadn't gotten that far. He was just, talking to the guys, and he did ask them finally. He said, I have to ask, do you have a weapon in the vehicle? And the driver said, well, yeah, yes, I do. The officer said, well, is there any way, he was being polite. I don't know if he said if there's any way, but he said, well, can we get it out and, give it to me or whatever for my safety? Just for my safety. He was alone. And he, if the guy had a gun, anybody that knows concealed carry, which I really don't, but I know people that have concealed carry, they usually tell them right away. The rule is you tell the cop, you put them on your hands on your dashboard, and you say, I want to let you know that I do have concealed carry weapon or a license. And then if you do have one, you tell them the weapon's in the car. And if you don't, you just say, I don't have my weapon on me, but I do have concealed carry. That's Ohio. Maybe New Mexico's different. But anyway, he gets to this guy, and the guy said, okay, sure, I can do that. And the police officer's still on the other side, not aggressively moving in any direction, still talking to the passenger. And this guy gets out with I don't know what kind of a gun it was. It wasn't a pistol. It was like an assault rifle, I guess, or something along that line. And the officer sees him getting out of the truck, and he kind of walks over behind the bed just to see what he's got, and he's still not saying nothing. And this fucking guy opens fire on him. Opens fire with this fucking automatic rifle. Kills dude. Kills the officer. So, and the reason I brought up Darian Jarrett is because have we heard a fucking thing on the news about this? I found this on YouTube tucked into a police site. I mean, it was just popped up on my videos, and I'm like, well, I didn't hear about this. You know, they ended up dead chased the guy down. On a later video footage of it, somebody was filming by. They were high speed chase. Cops spun him. He got out, opened firing on everybody. They shot him fucking dead. Well, I'm surprised we didn't get a cry from the look at that. The cops shot this guy dead after he shot a police officer. But my thing is, did we hear about this on the news? Do you know who Darian Jarrett is? Well, you know who the fuck Dante Wright is, right? And you know who the fuck Adam Toledo is, right? And we all know who Georgie Floyd is, and we all know who Mike Brown was, and all this bullshit. Where's the Darian Jarrett support? Where's the Darian Jarrett outrage? He was doing his job as politely as you can fucking do a police job. That's why these fuckers get shot when they resist arrest. That's why you get shot when you're running from the police after shots have been fired. Because if you wait and hesitate as a police officer, guess who fucking dies? Not the fucking thugs, the fucking policemen that are trying to protect everybody else. So with the Dante Wright especially, fuck you people. That guy deserved justifiable shooting. Not justifiable homicide or death. It was a justifiable fucking shooting. The lady officer fucked up. But lo and behold, the kid in Chicago, same thing. The officer, I don't think he fucked up. But I think he had a split second to decide. If Darian Jarrett would have been a little more conscious of it and tried to be more of a trigger happy guy, he might have beat him to the punch and killed this fucking guy and be alive today. But he was doing what everybody thinks the police should do and just be happy-go-lucky and let them get out of the vehicle on their own with a fucking weapon. And Darian Jarrett's no longer here to say, oh, that was probably the wrong thing to do because some fucking thug killed him. And the booster of this one is, it was not a black person that shot the cops, so don't get on me about that. I'm not even going that route. Not going fucking racial at all. It was a white, or as far as I could tell, it was just a white guy. Maybe he was Hispanic. I don't fucking know. You couldn't see it that good in the video. You could see it was a guy in a wife beater. It looked like a white guy with a black beard to me. He's a piece of shit, what he is before he died. I mean, he's still a piece of shit, but he's dead. But guys like Darian Jarrett don't get no fucking press. They don't get anything. Because it doesn't fit the narrative that, oh, poor defenseless, such a sweetheart of a guy got shot unarmed like Devontae Wright. No, a fucking criminal got shot for resisting fucking arrest after he was told he was going to get shot, kept going, and whether or not she pulled a Glock 17 or the taser is the only fuck up of the day. And in my mind, if I'm a police officer in today's age, the taser would probably not even get out of my fucking holster. It would be the Glock every time. Because you want to try to kill me? Fuck, I'm going to kill you. Or I'm going to fucking wound you very intensely. I know, yeah, I'm a fucking ass. So what? If I'm an asshole, you think I'm an asshole? Fuck you. I don't care. I'm sick of this thug mentality winning out. All these people, oh, he was such a nice boy. Or, oh, he doesn't deserve to die for that. You put yourself in those situations. Play stupid fucking games. You win the ultimate stupid prize. That's how it is. Wake the fuck up to it, because that's how it is. You idiots that want to fucking resist arrest. Fucking morons. And this kid, they keep calling him a kid. He's 20-some years old. He has a kid of his own. He wasn't like doing this shit on the Facebook with his, he's a gangster, whatever. Fucking ridiculous. You guys keep backing this motherfuckers. It's out of control. And it brings me to my last story of the day. And this one's Ashley Babbitt, okay? If you don't remember who Ashley Babbitt is, probably because it was, swept under pretty quick because she was a white Trump supporting female Air Force veteran that happened to be at the Capitol building on January 6th. That got shot and killed at the Capitol by the police. So we go back to the couple of the previous things. They wanted the first Officer Cooper with Devontae Wright. They're going to charge her with murder. This Chicago police officer, I'm sure in the Toledo case, probably getting charged with murder. And we could even go to the trial that's ongoing with Derek Chauvin, who's charged with murder. Okay? But some Capitol Police shoot a 14-year Air Force veteran, unarmed, in the Capitol building, unarmed, white person. They come out and say, no charges are going to be filed. No charges. But it's okay if she would have been I guarantee if she would have been a black thug, they would have charged the fuck out of him. Here we got a white Air Force veteran. Because she voted for Trump? Because she's white? Is it because she's, the officer that shot her might be of color? Which one is it? Is it because she was in the Capitol building and that somehow is different from a fucking alley in Chicago? Or some shithole Minnesota? Is that the reason? Well, okay, if we're doing that, then why is it okay when you want to get facial recognition on people that are looting and rioting in the Capitol building and arrest them? But you don't want to do anything when they're fucking burning Minnesota to the ground or Portland, the ultimate shithole of Portland. Where's your face recognition then? I'm sick of you lefties. I'm fucking done fucking with you. I am done being nice. I don't care. I lose friends all the time because I can't keep my mouth shut. But it's like, why should I have to keep my mouth shut? Especially over this shit. This pissed me off. The Darian Jarrett, and now Ashley Babbitt. Nobody seems to give a fuck. But if it's some fucking thug motherfucker, man, then it's okay. That the cops got to go rot in hell. They got to rot in hell. They should go to prison forever because they killed poor innocent Devontae and there's a kid running from the police. But Air Force veteran that was just in the Capitol building, unarmed, get shot. Nothing even fucking going to worry about. Please, it's okay. She's just a white right-wing Trump supporting bitch anyway, right? Only served her country for 14 years. I don't think she had any videos waving a fucking Glock around with hundreds of dollars smoking blunts. But yeah, fuck that then, right? Because that doesn't fit the lefties' narrative. Well, you know what? Fuck the left. The right's coming out. The right's going to be coming out sooner now. I can't believe these fucking idiots haven't done it already. But me, my zero policy on this channel and zero policy in my life, full front and center now. I'm beyond fucking sick of this shit. So, fuck you guys. No justice for Ashley Babbitt, I see. No justice for Darian Jarrett. Didn't even get his name in the fucking news. But we got 2 fucking thugs that are going to be the highlight of the fucking world for the next probably month or 6 months or 8 months or till the next martyr comes along. But, there's other stuff to talk about, but I'm going to save it up and do different sections of this one because it's so frustrating. So, for volume 1 here, until next time, always trust and believe in your own convictions. And please, for the love of God, keep your shit together and stay safe out there. See you next time on the 0 Hours.